You're listening to the Youth Critic Podcast on KHZ Network. Find us on Facebook at DecibelUNG Radio and find us on Twitter at DecibelUNG. If you like this episode, please leave a like and comment on our iTunes page at KHZ Network. And now for the podcast.
We have a business proposition for you.
I'm being foolish.
It's the worst fake crying I've ever seen. She's just using the technique.
A what?
The technique.
Holy
Amanda, this is my stepdad, Mark.
How long are you here, Amanda?
My mom's gonna pick me up around midnight.
Midnight's late for us. I'll call your mom. She can come pick you up now.
She's busy.
Doing what?
Chemotherapy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Youth Critic Podcast. I'm your host, Kel Smith. Joining me today is Mike Messina.
Hey there.
And today we are going to be talking about Thoroughbreds, the new movie with Anya Taylor-Joy and Olivia Cooke. Mm-hmm. And before we get started, it's a fine movie. That's my review. It's fine. Now, Mike, what's your review?
I like it a great deal. It's kind of simple in storyline. There's not much plot there. It's very straightforward in its plot. It's just straight up there. Like what they say, what you see is what you get. I kind of like that about it though. The more what has more depth is the characters and what gets revealed about them as you go on and what you're figuring out about them. But so what's not there in plot, not in a bad way. I think it was intended to be like that. It's made up for, in my opinion, in the character depth. It's a short film. It's only like 90 minutes. I'm pretty sure. And that's great for, like I said, for that type of film with that type of plot. Like, what needs to be done is done. It's not dragged out. If it was, then that's where you could start getting in trouble with this type of movie. And I think you get really good performances from all of our leads. And the use of music and whatnot in it is kind of pretty suspenseful. It's a little dreary, dry in a good way, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it was cast very well. I think that's the biggest thing for me. The cast is great. I've been loving, our two leads in Anya Taylor-Joy and Olivia Cooke. I've loved everything that they've done, all their performances, and yeah, I'm just a really big fan of how they collaborate together in this. They had great chemistry. I didn't really know that much about what their characters were like until I got to see them. So when it got revealed, like what type of characters Anya and Olivia were playing, I was like, oh, okay, so this is like I saw the trailer, but it doesn't really greatly reveal exactly the type of characters that Anya and Olivia are playing in the movie. And when it got revealed, like exactly who they were, which type of personalities they had, I think especially Olivia's character, I was like, whoa, like, so she's like that, like, okay, wow. And no, I just really, really like them. They both, I think, work well together. And of course, seeing Anton Yelchin again, that was great. And yeah, just as a brief overview, those are my thoughts. Just really good performances from the actors, I think, is the standout.
Yeah, it is. I still stick with Thoroughbreds. It's a fine movie. I just don't. It's such an odd film because
yeah,
it's one of those where you don't, because you think it's going to be this one thing where the two girls, like when I started watching it in the first 20 minutes, my theory, I know I'm not supposed normally I don't talk about, normally I try to let the movie, be a thing and let it kind of, swallow me in. But the first 20 minutes, all I could think of was, when is it going to be revealed that these two girls are like the same characters or the same character? And because at the beginning,
okay, I see.
Because at the beginning of the movie, I was like, because they're both opposites. One is like, one is this kind of, emotionless person, or doesn't feel anything, and then the other is this person who's filled with emotion, is trying to overcome her emotions,
right?
Especially her emotions over her stepdad.
Yeah.
So that was where I thought the movie was going to go, and then the movie just gets more and more weirder, and it becomes this like wickedly dark comedy of them trying to get Anton Yelchin, to kill the stepdad.
Right.
And he's really good in the movie.
Really good,
yeah.
Of course, as always.
Mm-hmm. And he is, and then that kind of all falls apart, and then everything that transpires in the end of chapter 3 and throughout chapter 4.
Oh, and before you move on, those chapters. Speaking of the chapters, like each time it went to a different chapter, and it had like a little like a clicking sound effect, and like just like the eeriness each time the chapter changed. That kind of like made me get like goosebumps. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's also interesting where the film goes and the decisions that Anya Taylor-Joy, the characters Anya Taylor-Joy and Olivia Cook, it's interesting what they're doing, and it's interesting where it goes, because the whole time Olivia Cook is like, you're living a pretty decent life. I'm about to go to prison for animal cruelty.
Yeah.
And
right, or at least she was on trial. I don't know, who knows what would have happened, but yeah.
Yeah, and so and you're the one that wants to like, kill an actual person. So, and she's trying to like steer her away, but ultimately in the end she just, I guess for the hell of it, just like gives up and just like, fine, I'll take the fall. You do it yourself.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much that's what happens.
and it's an interesting movie. It's really, my friend Kate and I, we were watching the movie, and we were both saying to each other about 2/3 of the way through, she was like, I thought this was a comedy.
Well, it kind of is a little bit. It's a dark comedy, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I was chuckling because she said that, because what we're seeing is kind of a dark. It's really really dark, and then it becomes kind of a dark comedy in the last like 30 minutes, where where she is like killing her stepdad,
right,
while he's on the treadmill, which drives her insane. So it's an interesting movie, and it's interesting in how what happens to the character. Let me pull it back up.
Which one?
Anya Taylor-Joy's character.
Lily. Yeah.
It's interesting how this whole thing has transformed her into a strong, independent female character.
Mm-hmm.
And where it's like, I really like the ending and how she got everything she wanted, even though the two people that were conspiring to help her are the ones kind of suffering for her independence, for her fight for independence.
What two besides Amanda? What's the
Amanda and Anton Yelchin's character?
Oh, Tim. Well, I mean, Tim's not really suffering.
Well, I mean, he's got a pretty. I mean, I shouldn't say suffering as much as.
I mean, I don't think his life changed in any way because of her. Like he's working as a bell person, right, at a hotel, I believe is what he's doing, or a valet or something. Yeah, valet at a restaurant or something. Yeah, and that actually looked like a better job than what he was doing before, to be honest. But so I don't know. I don't think she really altered his life besides smashing his head. And that was Amanda who did that. But that was pretty messed up. He woke up in the bathtub. I was like, what's going on? Like, I have to, they're cover it up with your hat. He's like, I gotta hide this from my dad. He's like, just don't go around him. He's like, I live with him. That was one of the best parts. Like, I live with him. I can't just hide this. She just wear a hat all the time. Yeah, but the interaction between all those characters is really good. It's just really, really good characters, in my opinion. And just the dynamic between both Lily and Amanda, I thought was good. And where the characters were going, I wasn't really exactly sure how the movie was going to end up. But I think as it went on, it really ended in the only way it was going to end.
It was. It just took, for me at least, it just took forever to get to that.
Forever? It's like a 90-minute movie.
It felt like we were there for 2 days.
Is it because of the limited set? Like, because it was mostly just in that one house?
That, and also there's not that much going on. Like, you can still set
Right.
I mean, Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing is set in one location,
Right.
but there's a lot of subplots and things going on to carry us to that 107-minute runtime. Whereas here it's like Lily is just really, upset with her stepfather, and Amanda is just, an emotionless robot. And
yeah, she does have a lot of comedy to her though. Like, she is pretty comedic at the same time with her dry, sarcastic humor, or even things that she says is serious that she doesn't mean to be funny, but we do as sane people.
Sure, but I mean, just what I'm saying is, in terms of what to fill in a 90-minute screen or a 90-page screenplay to make a 90-minute movie,
Right.
there's just not much going on.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. And that's what I prefaced everything with, there's not much to the plot. It's mostly character stuff and simple, really, really simple plot.
Yeah. And even after the initial, when Anton Yelchin's character, Tim, when he eventually is when he just gets his gun and goes,
Yeah.
cowards away, you're still just we know this is going to where does the movie go?
Right.
Because where maybe that's not the right. Where does the movie go before because there's only two ways this ends. She either kills her father or she doesn't. That's the only that's what we're building to here.
Right. Unless something unless they did introduce some subplot that changed something, who knows? But I wasn't really sure. I pretty much thought it was gonna end the way it ended. Although not exactly in the way I didn't really predict her taking the fall for her on purpose and all that stuff happening. But as a basis, I kind of thought it would happen that way. I really love that lingering scene of when it finally does happen and she goes upstairs and you hear him on that. What is it, a water thing? Isn't it the rowing machines that they use?
Oh, I thought it was a treadmill.
No, it's not a treadmill. It's they simulate rowing. You pull on it. You know what I'm talking about? You pull it back up and up towards your hips, and then you move forward and you're rowing a canoe kind of.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I'm pretty sure, unless I thought it was that. Maybe that's right. But I thought it was that. I think they actually talk about it at one point. When she's talking about what he's doing up there. But anyway, that's not the biggest deal as far as that goes. But yeah, it just stays on. Amanda like passed out there on the couch, and you hear Lily upstairs, and then you hear the machine stop, and he's not working out anymore. And then she comes downstairs, she has blood on her, and then she puts it on Amanda and whatnot. And then she just lays there crying on the couch up against her and all that. And that was just one shot, and I was just, whoa, like lots of intensity there in that scene.
Yeah, it's a lot, and because you're basically imagining, and you're just seeing the chaos. You're seeing the chaos of it, like afterwards, or the aftermath of it on her. Like,
right.
It's really, yeah. Thoroughbreds it's an intriguing movie, and the way they describe violence and the way that it's executed very, minimally and very. It's executed very. It's a minimalist style, like, and very almost, and there's always an off-kilter feel to it because the dialogue is very, it's not just dry, but it's very stilted. So it gives, this kind of illusion that this is, or not an illusion. It gives this, this tone that it's always going to be kind of scary. It's always going to be off kilter. It's always going to be strange.
Uncomfortable. I think that's a good way to put it. Uncomfortable. Like you're never like feeling at ease during the movie at all, ever.
Yeah. It's just it's an odd movie, and it's an odd first movie from Corey Finley, the playwright, or Corey Finley, a playwright.
Is that what his background is? Playwriting?
It's a her.
Oh, really? I thought.
No, wait. Oh, you're right.
I thought Corey Finley was the director as well, right? That's the guy who directed it.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I thought you're right. Corey Finley is a guy.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything from him. You said this is a first time filmmaker?
Yes. First time filmmaker.
Gotcha. That's great for a first feature film. Yeah, he did a really good job, I think.
Yeah, he brings very much a Paul Thomas Anderson to this kind of story.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and he doesn't have much going on his IMDb. He has one other writing credit currently. He wrote or he created the story for a short film called Sauna, but that's it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, interesting start. I mean, I'm sure he'll be working on something soon.
Yeah.
That's cool that he was able to get Anya Taylor-Joy, Olivia Cook, Anton Yelchin, get all of them. He probably got, obviously Anton was always done, just always looking for good work and interesting roles. But I guess he probably got Anya and Olivia probably at a time, because I think this was made, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he got them at a time before they were as big as they are now, with Olivia, getting, her prominent role in, Me and Her Own, The Dying Girl, and then also, Anya, of course, in Split most recently.
The
Witch, yeah, and she's going to be in the New Mutants, and she's huge now. But both of those two are they're terrific. They're two of my favorite up and coming actors at the moment. So seeing them work off of each other, and this is really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because Olivia Cook, if everything goes according to plan, Olivia Cook is pretty much going to break out in Ready Player One.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm excited to see her in that.
And Anya Taylor-Joy, she's been growing as an actress.
Yeah.
She broke out in The Witch, but then she, broke, and then she was in Split, and you brought up New Mutants.
And she's supposed to be Alaska Young.
Yep, and yeah. And she's supposed to be Glass. She's in Glass.
Oh yeah, of course. She's reprising her role as Casey in Glass. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah. So she's on an interesting trajectory as a actress.
Not a director yet.
Not a director yet.
She could be.
She could be. All right. So ready to wrap up Thoroughbreds?
Yeah. I've said most of my thoughts on it. Just a really character-driven film, like I said. Just don't want to rehash too much, but just character-driven film and simple plot, but I think it works well for what they intended for it.
Yeah, I think it's a for what they were intending for. I think it works. I think it works just well.
Right.
So with that said, Mike, where can the good people find you?
You can find me over on Twitter at Mike the Film Guy.
You can and you can find me on Twitter at Movie Kale, and you can also follow this podcast at the Youth Critic, and then you can also follow the channel that distributes this podcast at KHC Network. Thank you, everyone. We will be back with you next week with Pacific Rim.
I don't have any feelings, ever. And that doesn't necessarily make me a bad person. It just means I have to work a little harder to be good.
I'm sending you to boarding school. After that, you're off my payroll.
You hate him. You despise him.
Honey, you can't go in looking like that.
I'm fine.
Let me just...
I'm not going to have to stand here all day like a robot repeating myself. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
You ever think about just killing him?